Welcome, Surbhi, to the mock interview today.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, sir.
Evening. So, Surbhi, tell us briefly about yourself, your academic qualifications, degree onwards, and
Okay.
your experience, work experience, if any, and your main hobbies.
Yes. So I completed my graduation in chemical engineering from IIT Delhi. I graduated in 2017. I did an internship with ITC for 2 months during my college time itself. After 2017, sir, I've been preparing for civil services.
All right. So, Surbhi, you are a chemical engineer, and you have spent 4 years in Delhi at least.
Yes, sir.
IIT. So, you have seen Delhi and its pollution level.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tell me, there may be many factors for air pollution in Delhi. I am referring to air pollution. Now, what is the role of industrial pollutants or industrial gases, in the overall ecosystem of pollution of Delhi?
So industrial pollutants have a major contribution. Delhi NCR is an industrial hub. Ghaziabad, Noida, all of these have many industries. So the pollutants like sulfur dioxide, NOx, particulate matter coming from these industries have a major role to play in contributing to Delhi's pollution.
Mhm. So, what do you think is the share? Like they say that the fuel would smoke, and dust. Because even in the latest plan, which some action plan was introduced by Delhi government,
Yes, sir.
it did not mention anything about industry. It mentioned more on fuel, wood, fuel, uh, this thing smoke, and the dust due to construction. So, do you think there are some industries which can be taken away from Delhi NCR area?
Sir, I believe that there can be preventive measures to check the pollution coming out of these industries. For instance, we have retrospective technologies, I'm sorry, sir, retrofit technologies now, which capture SOx, NOx, and all of these pollutants and convert them into useful material like zinc. We have many other technologies like we have wet scrubbers for sulfur dioxide. So I believe we need to invest more in green technologies rather than completely disrupting the system by shifting industries away.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you hear me,
Yes.
Subi? I had some
Yes,
internet
sir.
problem. So, stubble burning in Punjab and Haryana have also been, mentioned as one of the reasons. And you are interested in agri-tech, you know,
Yes, sir.
uh, you've written in your extracurricular activity.
Yes, sir.
So, tell me, what is the latest technology which can be applied for stubble burning? I believe some new technologies have come. Can you throw some light on it?
Yes, sir. There are a number of solutions. Number one is, sir, we have machines like the Happy Seeder, which can be used, which do not result in stubble on farm. Other than this, sir, we also have biological solutions. Like recently, ICAR developed a biological solution, which is an algae fungi mixture, which can be used to convert this stubble into manure. Other than this, sir, we also have many startups coming up in this domain, which are working with farmers to convert stubble into more useful products. First, sir, there is a startup named Dharaksha Ecosystems. It is working in Delhi NCR. They convert stubble from farmers of Punjab and Haryana, and they convert it to a packaging material which is used to substitute thermocol in plastic. So,
So, Subi, my last question in this round is that you are from Punjab, and we have seen the freebie in the form of free power, and Punjab is already in a financial distress. Then the loans, the farmers who have not given the loans, they have been almost pardoned, no arrest warrant, they have been withdrawn. Now, what do you have to say about these actions? You think they are in the interest of interest of the state?
Sir, I believe that free services in the form of electricity or other things should be rationalized, and they should be targeted in a manner that their output is maximum. So as you rightly mentioned, Punjab is a revenue deficit state. Therefore, there is need to manage the revenues very efficiently. For instance, in the electricity sector, we can give 300 units of free electricity to, let's say, households of farmers, but we need to balance it to, number one, make it more environmentally efficient. For instance, so if we launch a graded action plan wherein any usage above 300 units will be charged at a greater rate, and any household consuming greater than 300 units will have to pay for the entire 300 units as well. So response mechanisms like graded action plan and better targeting of subsidies rather than making them universal should be the way forward.
Thank you. Surbhi, I pass on to Mr. Khanna for the next round of questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Surbhi,
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
good evening, Surbhi. You are from IIT Delhi.
Yes, sir.
All right. So IIT Delhi, tell me about the research that is being done in IIT Delhi, especially the methodology used. If you were to do research there, would you follow conventional research techniques, or you would follow internet-based research?
Uh, sir,
Uh,
I'm
uh,
sorry.
yeah, yeah.
Sir, can you please elaborate on internet-based research? I'm sorry, I'm unable to recall.
These days, research is in two parts. One is you consult books and quote references, and second is you do research based on the material available on internet. So,
Yes.
what kind of research is being done in University of Delhi? Are both allowed, permitted, and what is your personal choice of research?
Sir, in my view, a hybrid approach is being followed. For instance, the research papers that people publish nowadays, they also quote other research papers as well as websites from their sources. So, and they also quote books or physical hard copies. So, I think a hybrid approach is being followed, and I think this should be the way forward as well, because the the orientation should be that the output or the relevance of research is maximum. So, sir, if there are substitutes to books which are able to help a researcher come out with better solutions earlier, then I think those substitutes should be followed. So, a hybrid approach should be followed, sir.
Okay, IIT as a brand and civil service as a brand. Can you compare these two brands and tell me why you prefer civil service as a brand?
Uh, Sir, I would not prefer one over the other. I believe both of them have their immense role in contributing to an individual's as well as the nation's growth. So IITs as a brand, they offer a lot of value addition to an individual's life. For instance, the networks that IITs offer, as a student who has just come out of their homes to study in IITs, they get access to uh, world class research, they get access to lab facilities, they also get access to extracurricular activities which polish their skills as a leader, their skills as an administrator, or any job that they would want to pursue in future. Civil services, on the other hand, sir, it is much more than just a brand. Basically, it is the services that really can change the course of a nation. It provides the steel frame which not just implements the policies at initial stages, but then play a role in drafting policies. And so I believe that our entire nation is composed of districts, and if every district is able to work on its health, education, and other indicators, and all of these districts are excelling in these indicators, then the nation as a whole will excel, because health and education are the pillars of any country's growth. So, so this is my take on civil services.
Uh, there was a news item that number of global medicines, branded global medicines, will be patent free very shortly. Are you aware how many medicines are going to be patent free, and what India can do to encash on pharma sector and global opportunities because of this?
I'm sorry, sir. I haven't read this news. I'll go back and read on this. So the first part of the question, I'm not aware how many medicines have become patent free. How India can gain from this, sir? Number one, India is a world leader in generic medicines manufacturing. It is the third largest by volume and 13th largest by value. So, sir, medicines becoming patent free will enable access to Indian manufacturers, especially MSMEs and small enterprises, to manufacture these medicines and sell them at affordable rates in Indian as well as global markets. So, sir, this is an opportunity for India to encash in the pharmaceutical domain.
No, my point was slightly different. At present, what we are doing is importing uh, semi-finished medicines and
Yes,
just touching it up and bringing out in the market and exporting it. So
yes, sir.
real opportunity is if we start from scratch and start right from the beginning.
Yes,
So China is already slowing down both in chip manufacturing as well as in medicine. So from that point of view, I want your opinion as to what is stopping India from doing the initial work and not importing from China
yes, sir.
on
So,
semi-finished medicines.
yes, sir. So, active pharmaceutical ingredients you're talking about, if I'm not wrong, sir. Yes,
Yes.
sir. Uh, sir, India currently is not a manufacturer on large scale of active pharmaceutical ingredients because these raw material need a lot of R&D as well as investments in initial stages in machinery and other equipments. So for this, the government of India has now taken steps in this field. We have launched industrial parks wherein we provide incentives to industries to set up active pharmaceutical ingredients. We have allocated a large amount of budget for this project as well. Sir, plus we have a strong patent regime as well. We are making improvements in our patent regime. We are shifting from process patents to product patents. So I believe all of this can encourage the active pharmaceutical ingredient ecosystem to flourish in India.
Okay, I'll make a statement and you please give your views on this statement.
Yes, sir.
Legislative councils in the state is a waste of money.
Uh, Sir, I do not believe that legislative councils in states are a waste of money. Uh, I believe there are certain issues with the current functioning of legislative councils in states. If we are able to reform these councils, to some extent exercise the power that the Rajya Sabha or the Rajya Sabha has at the center, I believe they can act as powerful institutions to powerful checks on the legislative assemblies and against hasty policy making. So they can also allow panchayats, municipalities, teachers who have nomination in the legislative councils to add value based on their on-ground experiences and based on their specific skill sets. So I believe that reforming these councils will enable them to become powerful tools as a check against any malpractices.
Uh, there was a news item that many Indian students are stuck up in various countries.
Yes, sir.
We could bring under Mission Ganga students who were stuck up in Ukraine. Now there are students going to Pakistan. There are students going to remote places like Mozambique. So do you think something is lacking in our higher education that students have to go to other countries to study? And number two, NEP, has it taken care of the deficiencies, if any, in higher education?
Yes, sir. Our higher education system does have certain flaws due to which Indian students migrate to countries like Ukraine and Pakistan for higher studies. Number one, we do not have enough engineering and medical institutions in our country. For instance, my home state, Punjab, has only four government medical colleges in the entire state. So lack of medical as well as non-medical seats is the first problem. Number two, sir, private education institutions charge high amounts of fees, and regulations as well as quality of education in these institutions is a cause of concern. So NEP has addressed these problems to some extent. Number one, NEP has proposed to enhance the budget on education to 5% of GDP, which will help the government come up with more institutions and strengthen the quality in these institutions. We also have other schemes, like we are expanding the number of AIMS in the country, we are expanding the number of IITs that are there, we are collaborating with foreign institutions, we are launching NIRF ranking. All of these reforms as a package will help Indian institutions to both improve quality and quantity.
All right. One question on mathematics. I give you a set of natural numbers,
Yes, sir.
n, which consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, and another set of all even numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8.
Yes, sir.
So, which set is bigger? You think n is bigger than m, and why?
So, sir, both the sets are infinite in number, so we cannot compare two infinite sets.
We cannot compare two infinite sets. Think about it. Can we compare or can we not compare and not say whether n is greater than m, n is equal to m, or n and m you can't say? What will be your answer?
So, can I take a moment to think about this?
Yes.
Sir, I believe we can say that the set of natural numbers is greater than the set of even numbers, and we can use the
Okay.
principle.
Okay. So last question I want to ask you
Yes.
is on plastic pollution in your district. Suppose you are posted in a district, how
Yes.
will you control plastic pollution in your district where you are heading the district?
Okay. Sir, first step will be to hold consultations with the public in trying to understand the major sources of plastic pollution in the district. For instance, there can be pinpoint sources from household waste. Household waste segregation can be a major problem, or packaging material from industries. So the first step will be public consultation, which will involve NGOs, industries, and all other sectors to understand the major sources of this pollution. Number two will be then to control the major sources of pollution based on the first step. So, for example, awareness tool can be used to aware houses about about the importance of segregating wastes. We can also incentivize houses to segregate waste. For instance, residential welfare committees can launch an award system wherein they award the top three houses in which they have given their segregated waste to the resident welfare collection. Number three, sir, to control point sources of plastic waste, we can again use community policing along with awareness as a tool. For instance, all residents should be encouraged to take their own gunny bags or jute bags when they go out for shopping, and community policing should be used wherein these community policing members uh, criticize the households who are not using these mechanisms, and also the shopkeepers who are not obeying. So these set of positive regulations can be used to control the menace of plastic waste.
Okay, thank you. Over to you, Mr. Sumesh.
Thank you, sir. Yes, good evening, Surbhi.
Good evening, sir.
Okay. So, can you tell about the application of mathematics in daily life?
So mathematics finds widespread application. Mathematics is basically a tool that helps us become outcome oriented, which helps us quantify and find the outcome of any process, and then based on the feedback we receive in the form of this outcome, we improve our processes. For instance, sir, I as a civil servant, as a civil services aspirant, track my daily performance in the form of number of hours that I'm putting in, the outcome through, let's say, an increase in the number of marks that I'm getting. Based on this feedback, I design or make plans for the next day. So so this outcome based approach is, I think, the biggest contribution of mathematics to daily life.
Okay. Why Punjab has take claim on Chandigarh, and what is your view on this?
Sir, Punjab's claim on Chandigarh is rooted in the agreement that followed the 1966 bifurcation. It was a trilateral agreement mediated by then government. It was an informal understanding which said that in due course of time, Chandigarh would be given to Punjab and Haryana would be allocated funds for a new capital. Over time, another 1 or 2 which reiterated this stance. This is where Punjab claims Chandigarh. In my view, sir, the solution lies in a trilateral approach. Punjab, Haryana, and the central government should sit together and deliberate on a way forward. If at all Chandigarh is to be allocated to Punjab, the regions which were to be allocated to Haryana based on the earlier agreement should first be demarcated through the formation of a trilateral committee. Then adequate funds should be allocated to Haryana, and only after both the states are in agreement and there is an alternative capital for Haryana should Chandigarh be given to Punjab.
Okay. What are the challenges to India from its neighboring countries? Surbhi, you there?
I think light गई है.
I think so. हाँ, ऐसा लग रहा है.
Hello.
Yes.
Am I audible, sir?
You are audible. Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry, sir. Can you repeat your question, sir?
Yeah. So, what are the challenges to India from its neighboring countries?
Of its neighboring countries, sir. Uh, So there are a number of challenges to India. First is Chinese expansionism and aggression is one major challenge. The recent standoff in Ladakh, along with continuous issues around the Arunachal Pradesh border, is one big challenge. The second challenge pertains with respect to the neutrality of other countries in South Asia. For instance, China's debt trap diplomacy has led to Sri Lanka and many other countries reeling under an economic crisis. There are also issues around their port facilities being leased to China. So the neutrality of these countries as well as friendly relations with India is the second concern. The third concern is peace along the borders and internal security. Uh, Insurgency from Myanmar as well as terrorist infiltrations from Pakistan are another major challenge. The fourth challenge is the maritime peace and security. For instance, the terror attack that happened in Mumbai in 2008 was by terrorist groups who came via sea route. So this is the fourth challenge, sir.
Okay. What do you mean by recapitalization of banks?
Recapitalization of banks refers to infusing banks to enhance their capital CCAR ratio, which is capital capital to
Adequacy ratio.
yes, sir, capital adequacy ratio of banks. So this was done by the government of India in the form of bonds, which were uh, so the banks government loaned money from banks, and this money was used to buy bonds in banks to enhance the amount of capital that they held.
So, what are the effects of recapitalization of banks? If you can highlight a few merit points as well as demerit points.
Sir, recapitalization of banks enhances the role of the banking sector in the economy. For instance, there is a minimum capital adequacy ratio that banks need to maintain. If increasing recapitalization enables banks to enhance the amount of loans that they can extend to the private sector and other players, so that can lead to positive investments in infrastructure in the economy and correct the issues around banking. Sir, a negative effect is that recapitalization does not address the root problem of the banking sector. uh, Huge high NPA ratios in banks need to be resolved. Recapitalization only enables banks to loan more, but does not take care of loans becoming unproductive asset. So recapitalization should be accompanied with strengthening of mechanisms to monitor bad loans and convert them to good loans. For this, a number of steps like the recently launched National Asset Reconstruction Company under Budget 2022, as well as transparency reforms initiated by RBI is a step.
So, Subhi, my last question is why you wish to join civil services?
So I wish to join civil services because because of whatever experience I have gained till now in life. I have seen that the scale at which the government works is unparalleled for any other sector. So. So I believe that the amount of learning that I will be able to extract by working at such a large scale with all the players in the society will help me in my growth journey. Number two, sir, the job satisfaction that the service offers. So, by number one, sir, the contribution that a civil servant can make to an individual life by taking small steps such as implementing schemes in a better manner or drafting them in a better manner will enable a lot of job satisfaction to me. Plus, sir, it will also give me a comfortable life through the salary and other incentives that this job has to offer. So I believe that this is an entire package that anybody could look for in a job.
Okay. I pass on to chairman. Sir.
So, Surbhi, the Ministry of Home Affairs claims that there is a dip in the terror activities in Jammu and Kashmir. So, if that is true, the way AFSPA has been withdrawn from many areas in the northeastern states, do you
Yes.
think that India should, the government should, revisit the Special Powers Act in J&K and do a similar thing as it did in the northeastern states?
Sir, a dip in terrorist activities is a positive step, but so withdrawal of AFSPA completely from JNK could be a radical move. I believe there should be a committee formed which should have members not just from the government, but from Jammu and Kashmir government as well as some local NGOs and other civil society members in Jammu and Kashmir to assess the ground situation and assess the reasons for this drop in terrorist activities. So, if based on the findings of this committee, if there has been a long-term de-radicalization of youth, then probably AFSPA can be withdrawn. So I believe that greater ground research should precede any decision of whether to keep or withdraw AFSPA, because Jammu and Kashmir's strategic position between Pakistan and China makes it a very strategic as well as critical location, sir.
So, Surbhi, last question would be from a subject that you would choose.
Yes, sir. Okay. Sir, I like to read books on development economics, so I would be happy to answer or to.
All right. So tell me, uh, how has Indian economics and has been helpful to promote or maybe to improve the health infrastructure post COVID?
Sir, development economics, as pointed out by Amartya Sen, strongly believes in the capability approach, which says that health and education are the biggest investments in the capability of an individual or a nation. Sir, based on this understanding, the government of India has given a huge impetus to enhancing healthcare infrastructure. For instance, today itself on AIR News, I heard that about 86% of the population has been fully vaccinated till now. So, sir, investment huge in the world's largest vaccination infrastructure, along with models like the BMC model of oxygen supplies and COVID management. All of these are rooted in this belief of development economics that healthcare is the asset of any nation or an individual. So I believe this is the contribution.
Surbhi,
Yes, sir.
this will be your first interview at UPSC,
Yes, sir.
and tell me how you are feeling now after so many questions. We asked you number of questions. So,
Sir,
what is your own reaction to today's
I
mock?
believe that my facts are a little lacking. So I am able to make points, but I am not able to substantiate them with facts because I have not revised them. This was one thing that I could interpret from my interview.
And when is your interview in UPSC?
11th of May.
11th of May.
Yes.
So you still have almost 2 weeks.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so good things first, that you have very good personality, very honest, very straightforward. You know your subjects also very well, because when I ask you question on IIT research versus conventional methods, so then pharma sector and global opportunities, these are very long questions. So I wanted to see if you can be crisp, brief, and give me pointed replies. Okay, so while your replies were good in both the cases, but these were very long. So
Okay.
you will need to work on your timings.
Yes.
Similarly, pollution control in the district, the situational problem. So here also deterrent is also equally important. And
Okay.
then besides involving anyone, can you think of completely banning it in your district? What best you can do to stop, and what should be your first step? So think about what you are saying, and then bullet point your replies.
Okay.
All right.
Yes,
Then
sir.
you were with regard to similarly legislative councils in state as a waste of money. I wanted you to your reaction. So it's all right. Whatever you give, it has to be based on facts, on the fact that some states have asked for removing it, but then procedure also takes a long time. So
Yes,
read
sir.
read more, and you will get the answer. You will
Yes,
get the
sir.
crisp and short answer. Okay.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Then one question on mathematics, one-to-one relationship. So both are equal. This is
Okay.
what I was expecting. So the
Okay.
moment you connect one to one, So you will find n is equal to 1.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So summarizing, work on the current affairs, on your timing, and at times on your content.
Okay.
Because I had to probably provoke you in the pharma sector reply.
Yes, sir.
What kind of opportunity exists for India? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you need to work little more.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Over to you, Sumeshi.
Thank you, sir. So, Surbhi, have you ever given interview in civil services before?
No, sir.
This is your first interview.
Yes, sir.
So, Surbhi, I will not repeat. I share the exact same opinion already told to you. Overall, you were very good. Personality-wise, also you are very good. Just you were a bit longish, and it is not necessary to quote examples or instances in every answer. So
Okay.
in every answer, you were going for instances. So this was making your answers are quite longish. So you can avoid this and keep working on your content. And I wish you all the best.
Thank
Let's
you.
pass on to chairman, sir.
So, Surbhi, you have done very, very well. And for the first interview that you are going to face, uh, it was an excellent performance, and the panel has decided to give you 68% marks for this.
I'm
All
sorry,
right.
sir. Your voice broke in between.
Uh, I'll repeat it. The panel has found your performance very good,
Okay.
and for your first performance and first interview, with no further, previous experience, you have been very good. Uh, and we have considered to give you 68% marks,
Okay, sir.
6 and 8. Now, that is just to give you an idea that while we are giving you certain things to correct and rectify, the the overall impression has been very good. So don't get perturbed by these suggestions, because on the whole, our attempt basically is that if you have already got 68% on the basis of your performance, whatever it was, why should you not get another 5%?
Yes, sir.
That is the logic behind taking time to give you the feedback. So you're confident, you could communicate well, and the good thing about you is that you are quite well informed and you have the depth in most of the questions. Now that is very important. Otherwise, you communicate very well, speak very fast and fluent, and you have a pleasing personality, but then there is no substance. So you had that substance, and when you are coming from IIT Delhi, the panel has a lot of expectations also from you. So that also you have to keep in mind. The bar is slightly high for IITians. Now, having said that, some of the things which already have been told, I will reiterate one or two points which need your attention. Is that you have to structure your answers even better.
Yes.
You were short in most of the questions, but you became a bit longish in a few questions, which again I think to my mind is because you when you're not sure about the content of the answer, one has a tendency to repeat again and again or pick up another thing. Then your brain's mind says, no, I'm not happy with this answer, let me pick up another point. And you keep picking points, and then even if you're not satisfied, then you give an example. So basically, psychologically, if you see, you are basically explaining to yourself, ki, look, I'm not happy with this answer, so let me give another point. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
So the solution for this is that you be ready for all the possible questions. So when I say possible questions, Surbhi, my hint is prepare your answers in advance.
Yes.
I can guess the at least 50% of the questions that can be asked from you. You will be asked from Punjab. You can be asked about the elections in Punjab, the point that I asked you. You could have a question from Jalandhar. You could also be asked from your chemical engineering. uh, Chemical engineering, when we talk, as has been already done, Pharmaceuticals may also be considered, although it's a pharma thing. But at times, when a chemical engineer candidate comes, the panel may switch on to pharmaceuticals also, because today after COVID, everything, most of the people know about drugs so much that they shift to the pharmaceuticals. So, as has already been advised, you be ready for that as well. But in chemical industry, again, you have to prepare for disasters, chemical disasters. The government has come out with certain guidelines,
Yes.
as to what are the SOPs and guidelines with regard to a chemical disaster, or any kind of. Now we have had Bhopal gas tragedy. Somebody may go back. What are the lessons that we learned from Bhopal gas tragedy? Why you think it will not happen? Suppose you are the DM and something happens. They may put you in a situation. So that is could be another. Agri technology you have mentioned. You have such a long list of extracurricular and other things, and all are very interesting, mind you. They are not those dancings and khokos and kabaddis and everything. They are very substantial, including your business, your developmental economics. So these questions also would be, very important. They can ask questions from here. So my point basically, when and then of course, international relations, economics in general, macroeconomics especially, right? And a little bit about the social sector, health and education. This is all. Rest of the things, nothing, and they are all related to current affairs. Anything which has surfaced in the media becomes more important, right? They
Yes.
will not just pick up any subject from anywhere and then start. Something may have happened in the past, and they will relate to it. So that is one. So basically, increase your depth of knowledge and structure your answer. And beforehand, as I had mentioned, you prepare your answers and
Yes.
you read them, study them. When you go there, it will flow, very smoothly, and your answers will be very structured, and you will be more confident. Now, a couple of things I would like to mention. Your answers that you gave to me, they were all very balanced. I'm very happy. Now, just few corrections. On legislative council question, you mentioned that the panchayat bodies and local bodies, there are nominations, right? So just to correct you, Surbhi, they are elected.
Yes, sir.
Right? You have for legislative council, you have teachers constituencies, you have graduate. Punjab doesn't have a legislative council. So you will have to either read the law, or maybe, the UP and others, some 6 states have got LCs. So graduate teachers and local bodies. So it is not nomination, it is election. That
Yes.
is my first point. Secondly, on the issue of, probably there was a question from Khanna Sahab about doctors and Ukraine, medical colleges going
Yes,
to.
sir.
So just read some news item at least about a week ago, the last 7 8 days. You will find that the Prime Minister has mentioned that there will be no problem of medical doctors in coming years. Have you read this?
No, sir.
So he has mentioned that, announced that every district henceforth will have a medical college.
Okay.
So when you mention these things, you could also substantiate your answer by this particular coming from a person like Prime Minister of India. I mean, it holds a lot of significance. So that is
Yes.
another thing. Now, thirdly, I would like to mention in the civil services answer, you said a comfortable life. So should we avoid that? You
Okay.
replace it with career prospects. You mentioned about job satisfaction. You replace comfortable life and the word package also. All right. इसको अवॉइड करो, वर्ड पैकेज को, और कंफर्टेबल लाइफ को भी अवॉइड करो. उस पर आपसे ना कई सवाल और पूछ लेंगे. तो आप कहो करियर प्रोस्पेक्ट्स. नाउ करियर प्रोस्पेक्ट्स में एवरीथिंग कम्स. It's a decent word to tell. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
So these are some of the things which I thought I'll share with you. So anything you would like to know, Surbhi, from us?
Sir, I have one question. I haven't chosen Punjab, which is my home state, as my first preference for IAS, but I've chosen it for IPS. So I'm worried if a question comes on this. I
So Surbhi, my reply is, First is 99.9% they don't look at the cadres, right?
Okay.
Because it brings in in inter cadre rivalries.
Yes.
Same applies for the services. Why have you chosen IPS as your first choice and not IAS? Because the panel itself has IASs and IPSs. So
Yes,
they
sir.
will get into a आपस में लड़ने लगेंगे कि भाई आपने क्यों पूछा ये. Just a joke. So, but if they ask you, then why should you be worried? There is no need for worrying. You can straight away mention the reason that I have chosen, some other state and not Punjab because I thought that this is what had happened with me. My domicile was Madhya Pradesh, but I chose Rajasthan. And should be like at this age when you are just 22, 23, 24 years, you apply and fill up the form. You're very young, you do not know. So some people had said, and very rightly so, that don't take your own cadre because आपके दोस्त यार सारे आ जाएंगे काम कराने के लिए.
Yes, sir.
So I was not asked this question in the interview, but you can apply this. Sir, I think I would be in a position to work more neutrally and and independently uh, in any other state than my home state. Instead of mentioning ki I am for unity of India and unity and diversity, I am giving an example. It's not that because again on IPS they'll say ki why then Punjab. So
Yes.
if they say that why Punjab IPS, you must be having some reason, Surbhi.
Yes, sir. My major reason was this only for IAS. Number one, Rajasthan is a bigger state. There were more opportunities, and number two, it's the same situation that I wanted to be in a more neutral position. I mean, I thought it was safer to not choose my home state. So for IPS, first this is my second preference. So I thought I will be attempting the exam again if I am allotted IPS. So I can choose my home state because it doesn't make a lot of difference if whether I do or I
But
don't.
Surbhi, I'm not able to understand. Choice तो एक ही दी जाती है ना. You can't have choice. IPS का पंजाब और IAS का वो ऐसा थोड़ी ना होता है.
No, sir. There are two sets of preferences. One for IAS, one for IPS.
अच्छा, अच्छा. Okay,
Yes,
they
sir.
in the form itself.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, what reason would you give for choosing Punjab and give the same reason that I will be neutral? That will not apply then.
Yes,
They
sir.
will say कि आप police में neutral भी तो हो सकती थी.
Yes, sir.
Why did you
And
choose?
yes, sir. And I cannot say that if I'm allotted IPS, I'll attempt again. So I don't know what to say.
So, what exactly is the reason? Any personal
Yes, sir.
reason?
Yes, sir. So
Or,
this is the reason I did not want Punjab to be my first preference because one is the neutrality factor, and another is that I was Rajasthan is a bigger state and it is also closer to my home. So geographical proximity plus experience, both these factors are being fulfilled by Rajasthan, and I can be away from the influence of relatives. So I thought this is the best option. For IPS, I chose Punjab because IPS is not my first preference, and I attempt the exam again. So, and I had allotted zero to Punjab in IAS because you can either give it the first preference or zero. So I did
I
not
think
want.
I think then you stick to this, ki sir, I am see who is going to chase you that what happened, what decision you took after you had your final results. Maybe you will get into IS. So I am committed on getting into the IS, right? And that is why I chose the the cadre of my choice, which I thought should be different from my home state, right? What if you get into IPS and get Punjab? Sir, I am sorry, sir. I may have mentioned Punjab, but I will not join. I will try again for IAS. You could say that. Who is going
But
to? हाँ, बताइए.
sir, does that not look very bad if I say I'll not join if I get allotted IPS?
No, no, join नहीं मतलब आप you would not be finishing your journey. If you
Yes,
get IPS, people take leave and appear for IAS again.
yes, sir.
This is what everyone does. They report and take leave and then leave is given. till you get IAS.
Okay. Yes, sir.
All right. So, because it's a very tricky thing na, that you have done.
Yes, sir.
So, for IAS, you found Rajasthan good, and for IPS, you found Punjab good.
Yes, sir.
So, just think about it. खन्ना साहब आप कुछ राय दीजिए.
नहीं नहीं, बिल्कुल ये मुश्किल सिचुएशन है, लेकिन इससे बेहतर और कुछ किया नहीं जा सकता जो आपने बतलाया था, क्योंकि ऐसी सिचुएशन में काउंटर क्वेश्चन जरूर होते हैं. So one can be as honest as possible at places.
You can't even say that Punjab is a good state for police and bad state for IAS.
No, one cannot take any such view.
हाँ. Similarly, आप राजस्थान को भी अच्छा मत बताइएगा over Punjab.
बिल्कुल.
You know, take it to on yourself. ये भी कर सकती हैं आप कि सर IPS अगर होता है तो सर I would be more comfortable in my own state because IPS is a uniform job, and being a lady officer, I thought that I will be able to, I'll be more comfortable in my own home state, something like that.
Okay.
You know? So, anything else?
एक बात मैं इनको कहना चाहूंगा, आपने गजल भी लिखी है ना अपने ऑप्शंस वो उसमें आपकी हॉबीज में, सुरभि.
Yes.
So prepare yourself because ghazal is a very favorite topic for discussion. Okay. So whether it is Faiz Ahmad Faiz or Ghalib or what not, so कोई भी अपना फेवरेट गजल राइटर, सिंगर, इनके बारे में थोड़ी जानकारी और रखिए.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So wish you all the best, Surbhi, and do well. You will, if you have done your exams well, I can guarantee for your interview, you will do very well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So wish you all the best, Surbhi.
Thank you, sir.
All the best, Surbhi.
Thank you, sir.